We're going to go ahead and get started. Hey, thanks, Craig Walker. Okay, guys, I'm going to tell you this message has been stirring around in my spirit all day, and I just pray that it comes out the right way. I pray that it helps somebody out there. But you know, building is a big deal. Building is something more than just a bunch of insurance agents that go out there and sell, and every now and then they invite somebody to take a look at the opportunity, and bam, now they've got another salesman. Like that's not what building is. The foundation and passion for every successful builder is, and write this down if you can, or if you can't, if you're not in a position to write it down, I just want you to think about this, okay? The foundation and passion for every successful builder is twofold. Number one, they have a dream that they're willing to struggle for. Like they've bought into, like, when they saw the opportunity. And that's why I'm begging you guys, when you show the Equus opportunity, if you find out that somebody's interested in more of the business owner opportunity, the passive income, I'm hoping that you show them more than lead-driven sales, okay? They have a dream that they're willing to struggle for. And number two, they have a passion that they're willing to suffer for. And I'm going to get into more of that later, okay? But I want to slow down, because that's the foundation of all great builders. Okay? They have a dream, a personal dream based on the results that are produced via B quadrant results. Business building results. They have a dream when they see the opportunity. And you mean to tell me, when I go out there and I get 10 writing agents, I'm making $250,000 a year via Mutual of Omaha, Transamerica, Americo, Foresters? You mean they're paying me for the distribution that I'm sending them? Yes. You mean Equus Financial they're paying me every single month a regional bonus based on the amount of volume that I send Mutual of Omaha? Yes. And you mean to tell me Barry Clarkson is right now working up? He's going to be meeting with the regional managers this Thursday in Atlanta, Georgia. And you mean Barry's coming up with a way that he can also give regional managers money every single month to help pay for their office and their staff? You mean Barry's got a vision of a bunch of Equus Financial offices spread around the country? Yes. Yes. So the dream of business ownership, the dream of financial freedom, the dream of having time and money. Time and money is not an amount of money. I'm not talking about you having to make $1 million a year. What would it be like to make $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 a year of 100% totally passive income that's no longer attached to your daily activity? It doesn't come in. That $100,000 does not come in off of your own pen. It doesn't come in off of your own leads. It doesn't come in off of your own sales. It comes in off of the network that you establish. What would happen in your life
Hey, y'all, I'm trying to get John back on.
Hey, Brad.
Hey, John, we lost you.
Yeah, did I hit a button or why was that?
I don't know. You froze up for a second. It was almost like your connection timed out.
Cool. What, you got me back?
Yeah, you're good to go now.
Okay. You remember the last thing? What was the last thing you heard me say?
I honestly don't remember. You're on passive income.
Okay. Let me see if somebody else out there has anybody else. Can anybody else tell me the last thing that they heard?
Sturgis said the same thing. Passive income.
Okay. So definitely the dream of freedom, the dream of personal freedom, is time and money. And being a successful business owner, thinking about making 100,000 passive income. Thank you, Dee Dee. Making $100,000 passive income. Just what would that? I just want people to understand that this is not multi-level marketing. You don't need 1,000 people to make money. I mean, if you sat down and played with the numbers, like if you had 4, 5, 6 people out in the field on a weekly basis, can you sit down and just play with those numbers a little bit? I mean, what if you had 8, 10, 15 people out there on a weekly basis out there making sales, and you were getting, 10, 15, 20% override off of what they sold? I want you guys to think about it. Think about the possibilities. As far as the passion goes, at some point in time for all builders, okay, it becomes a lot bigger than them. It becomes a lot bigger than what they can get, okay? So the passion from a business owner standpoint is, what are you actually giving to people? What are you actually giving to people when you show them our opportunity? Has it ever really hit you that when you share our opportunity with somebody, or you check their interest, like, hey, are you keeping your options open to making some money on the side? Whenever you offer somebody your opportunity at Equus Financial, you're offering them a business that is a pathway to everything that they could ever want in life. Like anything from a business standpoint, money, time, like how much money do you want to make? Like 100,000, 500,000, $1 million. Jared made $1.4 million last year in his 3rd year at Equus Financial. Like, so how much money do you want to make? How much time do you want to have? Like, once your income becomes passive, what do you want to do? Like, do you realize when you're sharing our opportunity with people, you're giving them that? Like, their opportunity's not limited to you. You need to know that their opportunity's not limited to you. It's not limited based on the success that you've seen. I have to realize that when I show the opportunity to somebody can go and build a Jared Ewing type business. And actually, my goal is to have people that build bigger businesses than me. How much security would that bring to me and my family if that were the case, right? So the foundation and passion for every successful builder is, number one, you got to have a personal dream. Do you have a personal dream for what Equus can do for you? Is that personal dream bigger than any fear and doubt that you face? Is that dream big enough to get you taking 10 times action every day? I will tell you, if you hung out with me for 24 to 48 hours, I would think that your dream would be bigger than it is now. Plus, your belief in you would be a lot bigger than it is now. Also, at what point in time is it okay for me to tell you, let's take our eyes off of us It ain't about us. Let's take our eyes off of us and let's go put it on other people and let's give them a shot. Let's give them an opportunity. I mean, do we really think that people out there are just inundated with opportunities? Like, yeah, I had an opportunity to make $500,000 the other day, turned it down. I had an opportunity to go and I had a Barry Clarkson at XYZ Corporation offer to pay me an override off the entire company. See, those things aren't any big deal. Really? No big. See, they are a big deal. But sometimes the way we go out and we operate, we act as though it's not a big deal. And I want to tell you that I think it is. Number two, second thing I want to talk about tonight is we have to take the dream part of our business and the passion part of our business, and we do periodically, we have to put on our business owner cap. And we have to assume for a moment that we are actually in business to make money, okay? And so we have to interrogate our reality. We have to look at our numbers. We have to look at our growth. We have to look at our results, right? Like let's examine what we're doing and let's look at the results that are being produced, okay? And when I talk about results, I'm talking about S quadrant results and B quadrant results. So S quadrant results, how are we doing in our personal sales? How many leads are we getting on a weekly basis? How many appointments are we booking on a weekly basis? How many applications are we writing? We have to constantly interrogate our results because we have to get better. We have to make sure that that aspect of our business, which is our personal pen, we have to make sure that aspect is bringing in cash flow. A business that does not have cash flow is a business that won't stay in business very long. So number one, what about our S quadrant results? My personal pen. What about the people that I have in their sales? See, I'm not even talking about business building right now. I'm just talking about my sales plus their sales. How many people do I have out there getting at least 10 A leads a week? Do you guys realize that when you start getting A leads, whether it's final expense or mortgage protection, A leads become very predictable. Inventory leads, not so much. Like you could talk to a guy that got, I got 50 B leads the other day. How much you sell? Oh, I sold 25,000 off of B leads. Then what do you have happen? Then you have everybody in your organization go buy every B lead there is out there. Why? Well, if so-and-so, if he went out there and sold 25,000 off of 8 B leads, it's not a duplicatable process. Can you go out there and write 25,000 off of B leads? You better believe it. Can you go out there and write money, write business off of C leads and D leads? Absolutely. But it tends to not be near as duplicatable or predictable as A leads. So if you are a salesman, and I don't mean by sales manager as in our sales manager, but if you are managing a sales team, one of the things that you need to know is how many agents do you have that are getting at least 10 A leads a week? Because from a manager standpoint, you can look through your organization and you can go, okay, how many agents do I have getting at least 10 A leads a week? Now I can look Barry Clarkson in the eye and I can let Barry Clarkson know, hey, Barry, from a distribution standpoint, this is going to roughly be what my team produces on a weekly basis, okay? Why? Because it's very predictable. It's very predictable what I write off of 10 A leads, and it's very predictable what people write off of 10 A leads. How about my B quadrant results? How about my agency building activities? How many people am I talking to on a weekly basis? See, I think people, I'd like to say this in a nice way where it's not offensive to some people, but I just don't think people really work as hard as they think they work, nor as consistent as they think that they are. And I really do challenge people that if they would go through a 90-day period of time where they really analyze their results, and I'm not telling you to do this, But if you did send me a list of just at least 10 to 15 people that you check interest on every week. Like you don't even have to share the Equus opportunity with them. I'm just talking about 10 to 15 people a week that you said, hey, I own a business. I do some things in financial services. I'm looking for some people open to making some money via lead-driven sales and building agencies. Are you open to the idea of making some money? So if you just sent me 10 to 15 people's name and number that you checked interest on every week, I will promise you this. I think that you would start experiencing so much growth you couldn't stand it. Because I think that if you checked interest on 10 or 15 people a week, you would consistently show the Equus opportunity, whether you got them on a webinar, whether you actually showed it to them yourself, or whether people just found Equus and jumped on the website or whatever. I just think that if you checked interest on 10 to 15 people a week, you would start growing. That's what I think. So we get paid for distribution. How are we doing with that? What was our distribution last month? And here's what I mean, okay? How many people last month did we have go out and make a sale last month? How many people was that? How many people did we have go out and make a sale the previous 3 months? Have we grown in the last 3 months? Do we have more people making sales on a weekly/monthly basis today that we had 3 months ago? If the answer's no, then I've got to sit down and I've got to think, wow, I haven't grown any of the last 3 months. Like I better put my finger on why that is. Am I 211 or is the people I hire 211 or both? Because there's non-growth happening, okay? Ground can be taken, as far as growth goes, ground can be taken 3 different ways. Number 1 way is physical. It's the sheer amount of work that we do. The amount of people that we check interest on, the amount of people that we share the opportunity. If we couple the amount of people we share interest on, we check interest on, and the amount of people we share the opportunity with, if we couple those 2 things with the quality of people, and we make sure that most of the people that we share the opportunity with, they're at least a 4 on Barry Clarkson's 6-point profile, right? Okay. So number 1, how can ground be taken? Number 1 is physical work. Interrogate your reality and make sure that you're working. Right now, I'm not talking so much about sales. I'm assuming that if you're on this builder's training tonight, your sales is, you're already doing that, and that's become a habit. Like it would be harder to not go out there and make 5 or 6 sales this week via makes 5 or 6 sales. Why? Because you've developed such a habit of going out there and doing 10, 12, 15 appointments on a weekly basis. Again, it would be harder to not do that than to do it. So I'm talking about from a business building standpoint. Physical, do the numbers, do the work. Okay. Number 2 is mentally. How can ground be taken in your growth? Number 2 is mental. Self-image. Your business will never outgrow your self-image. You're constantly becoming the type of person that people want to be in business with. You're constantly becoming the type of person that has that magnetic personality. People want to be around you. People want to be involved in what you're involved in. Your enthusiasm is attracting people, okay? You're excited, you're convicted, you have tremendous expectation. Excitement, conviction, and expectation are 3 things that make up an attractive personality. I encourage, I respect, I edify all people. Those are three things that make up an attractive personality. Criticizing, condemning, and complaining are three things that make up a repelling personality. So do I want to encourage, respect, and edify, or do I want to criticize, condemn, or complain? It's our choice how we live every day. And once we start to catch ourselves, if we're doing too much criticizing, condemning, or complaining, when we start to consciously catch ourselves of doing that, that's when we start changing. As long as we criticize, condemn, and complain people unconsciously, we don't even know we're doing it. It's like breathing. It's like, hey, did you breathe a while ago? Well, I really didn't think about it. Okay, did you criticize, condemn, and complain today? I didn't think about it, but I did, because I've got a repelling personality and nobody wants to be around me. So how do I change that? Well, I changed that because I start speaking. I've got a magnetic personality. I encourage, respect, and edify all people. So I start to reprogram my subconscious mind, and then my subconscious mind starts making me aware of who I am. And then when I become aware of who I am, I have the ability to start changing. I have the ability to start ingraining different pathways in my brain, right? Okay. So ground can be taken. Number one, physical work. Number two is mental, personal growth, self-image, becoming the type of person people want to be in business with. And the third way ground can be taken is spiritually. In my opinion, all real promotion comes from Him. We've got promises, and then we've got our faith that He who promised is faithful. And I believe that all real, lasting, and true increase, I believe, comes from Him. Number three, I put this in there because my pastor talked about this on Sunday, and I thought it was awesome, because he talked about the difference between being committed and being surrendered. And he said that when he was a young pastor, he was hosting a very successful, well-known pastor, and they were riding in the car together, and the pastor just looked over at him, and he said, look, he said, are you committed or are you surrendered? And my pastor, young version of my pastor, looked at him and said, well, Mr. So-and-so, we are committed. And the pastor said, you don't have a shot at succeeding. You'll fail. Words to that extent. I'm not even saying it probably as bad as the guy said it, but it was very impactful on my pastor, because my pastor was like, well, golly, like I just said I was committed. I didn't say I was not committed. I said I was committed. But they actually ended up pulling over in a parking lot, and the well-known pastor educated him, and he said, people that are committed, personal commitment to accomplish something is all about them. It's all about their success, and it's all about them doing what they can do on their own power. And in our business, it's the people that are going to do this thing. Like they leave a conference, they got all this external motivation, and they're going to do it. They're committed. They're committed. How many people have we seen leave a conference committed, only by the next week be doing the same bad habits they were doing? How far did that personal commitment get them? So when the well-known pastor talked to my pastor about being surrendered, he talked about the difference in personal success versus personal significance. And he talked about being surrendered is what can God do through you? What can God do through you on His power? And so our pastor ended up the service by talking about highlights of the story of Abraham. Actually, Abram, who turned into Abraham. He talked about Joseph. He talked about Moses. And it was pretty awesome what God did through those individuals. It's also pretty awesome to realize that a lot of people that we're looking for, see, you got to realize that when you hire somebody that becomes a massive agency builder, chances are they've been called into this business. They've been called. And what do I mean by called? It goes beyond this. It's like they find themselves saying, yes, I'm interested in this insurance thing. I'm going to get my insurance license. No, I really don't want to do this. I want to run away. It's going to be too much struggle. Something brings them back. You know, it's a start, stop 50 different times. But usually what happens, and this is most people's story, most people stick around half committed long enough to actually attend a conference. And when you attend a conference, something deep down inside of you starts talking to you about you and about your purpose and about what you're supposed to do, what he has for you to do. And you tell him, you plead with him that you do not have the ability to do that you don't talk as good as some people, that you don't have the leadership skills as some people. But what he tells you is that I have that purpose laid out for you. And if you'll just trust me and move forward, and God's got a way that at some point in time, you will move forward. There's no retreat. See, a lot of people think that you can miss it, but I don't think that you do. He'll get to you one way or the other. Okay. So we're not looking for everyone. We're looking for the called. And I mean, that's basically my message. Building is a whole different thing than personal sales. And I really think in our business, because we do have a sales organization, I think Equus, which I love this about Equus, I think Equus is very much a sales organization, which I think for true builders, I think that's a good thing. But from a true builder standpoint, we also have to realize that we have to do more managing of the business building culture. Since Equus is more of a sales culture, we have to individually do more to create a business building culture. Some organizations go overboard with business building culture. I think that a lot of people in this Zoom tonight, I think we've been a part of those companies, and we do see why that's not necessarily good, right? You guys out there, you hear what I'm saying. If Jimmy Pyron's out there, there's a lot of you. If Cammie Smith's out there, there's a lot of you guys that have seen how if a company goes overboard in creating the builder's culture, as much as you think that could be a good thing, it's not. And so it's a blessing that Equus maintains a very much of a sales organization, but we have to do a better job at policing, not so much policing, but promoting and moving forward the culture of our builders. The building opportunity has very little to do with sales. It has very little to do with leads. It has very little to do with carriers. Just think about it, guys. I mean, seriously. I mean, how many people bought into McDonald's that never really truly wanted to own a hamburger restaurant? You guys understand what I'm talking about? So when you start sharing the true Equus opportunity, which is the agency building opportunity and the ability to qualify for an override off of the whole entire company, that person does not necessarily need to be interested in insurance sales. That person does not necessarily be interested in lead-driven sales. That person does not necessarily need to be interested in the insurance business. They just have to be interested in the results that we are producing in the insurance business. And I do think that some people heard that, and I think that may forever change the way they view their opportunity at Equus Financial. And I think if that's the case, good for you, because now you're probably a little bit closer at finding real people. Finding builders by hiring insurance salespeople, that tends to be a very slow and cruel process. Yeah, but John, we need to hire insurance salespeople in order to build more distribution. You would think that, wouldn't you? So guys, I hope that tonight has made a difference, has made an impact in your life. I don't think we have any questions. Brad, do you have any questions on your end?
No, sir. Nothing here.
Okay. I'm going to give it, I'm just going to give it 30 seconds just to be fair.
Hey, and John, just selfishly, I'll ask a question. I mean, what's something that you first look for, some, like, you know, when you're checking interest, you know, what is something that's kind of a telltale sign that exposes a builder to you? You know, somebody that might not be interested, like you just said, in financial services or the insurance industry, but you can tell that they're just kind of fed up. You know, I mean, is there something that really sticks out to you, you know, that makes you kind of press forward? Like, does that make any sense?
Yeah, they light up, Brad. They light up. We just don't share our opportunity enough with people that are in the real world. We tend to share our opportunity via cold market. We tend to share our opportunity with unemployed people that are answering cold market ads. We don't share our real opportunity of financial freedom with sharp, industrious people that are out there working every day, driving the 3 Series BMWs, out there with student loan debt, just married, townhouse, and like they're begging for an opportunity. And when you sit down and you share with them distribution from a financial services standpoint, and you share with them what Mutual of Omaha is willing to pay us for sending them applications, for sending them our fried hamburger, is our $85 or $89 a month mortgage protection application. And when you share the opportunity with a Brad and Tara Turner, all of a sudden, like, that guy doesn't want to let you out of his sight, because he's like, are you telling me the truth? You're telling me I can develop a network and I can have 25, 27, I can have 35, 30, 45 people out there selling insurance on a weekly basis. And you mean to tell me that's going to produce for me a $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 year income? Like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do now? Like, I've got a buddy of mine, this guy's going to be interested because he does everything I tell him to do. When can you talk to him? When can we get in front of you? See, that's the way excited people act, Brad. And but what we do is we've become so lukewarm at that. We're willing to keep talking to people and begging people. That's what we typically do more of, because from a foundational standpoint, we really don't find ourselves checking interest on the warm market people that are not unemployed, and typically they're not perusing the job ads on cold market sites.
Got it. Okay.
So people that are hiring, I think cold market sites is a lot like mortgage protection sales. It gives us the opportunity to talk to people. But what we have to do is when we talk to somebody and they have an interest and it's somebody off of a ZipRecruiter ad, we've got to do a good job at asking them, hey, I'll make it worth your while. Who are 3 people that you know that are probably not looking at ZipRecruiter, but you think they may be open to making money on the side of their full-time jobs? Who do you know that has a full-time job that may be open to making money on the side? Do you know any school teachers that may be open to making some money over the summertime? See, when we start doing that, Brad, that's when our organization is going to explode.
Got it. Thank you for that.
Good question. Any other questions out there, guys? Hey, Josh Olzak, how you doing, brother? Proud of you, man. You did a great job on the call on Friday. D. Carter. Proud of you. Hey, Stano. Saw that those big old fish you caught the other day. Shanique, truly blessed Pender. Chris Ward, I saw them fish you caught. All right, guys. Hey, Ollie Collins, thanks for plugging in. Okay. All right, guys. I hope tonight helped. God bless you guys.